Energized show, up the Irish.
Okay, what's going on, guys? And welcome to a brand new episode of Energized. Ross!
Are you intoxicated or something?
How are you keeping, bud?
Man, doing great. Obviously, we're here for another episode of The Ultimate Fighter to recap it. Another win for Team Chandler. Unfortunately, the person who lost this time out was Lee Hammond. I was actually devastated for him, and
this one hurt.
Conor was devastated. This one hurt the most, I think.
This one hurt the most, man. The worst thing about it was knowing that he lost, like in the released clips and the build-up. Why did that happen, Ross? Why did you leak these clips, man?
Oh, stop. No, I think anyone who did release a clip is an arsehole, to be honest. Like, no one wants to, especially the finish of the fight. Like, I mean, it was like a release clip from like a scuffle in the house or something like that. You're probably more intrigued to watch it to see the build-up. But when you get to see the finish, because I was sitting there the last 4 or 5 days being like, did Lee get battered or something, or what's the story, or how did that like guillotine come about, or you're sort of interested to see the sequence that led up to it. And then next thing you know, you watch the episode and Lee Hammond dominated the whole fight, and probably the greatest comeback in Ultimate Fighter history, that Kurt Holloway win there. Like, he was losing those rounds like there was no tomorrow. Like, I don't think he had one good moment before he actually sunk in the guillotine. I think defensive the whole time.
Is Lee the only person to have won a round for Team McGregor the whole tournament?
Well, him and Brad Katona.
Yeah, look, I said to you, it's Brad Katona, Team McGregor, and you were like, no. And now you're like, yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, so 1-5.
1-5. Ross, why was this the only episode that there was a leak of all of them? Like, this was obviously this was the most looked forward to episode, and then they go and give us a leak.
I think maybe because this was the episode with the shove. I feel like this is the one that had the leak, and maybe because it was Lee being Conor's teammate, that's where the leak came from. But also, who knows? Maybe there was leaks at different times, but like maybe there was leaks in like certain areas, if that makes sense. As in, like, maybe, if someone's from Boston, maybe there's like a leak of what happened in someone from Boston fight, etc., etc. But like, obviously, because we're Irish, we're going to see the Irish leak of what happened. Who knows? But I suppose this was the episode that people wanted to see most. This is what we were sold at the start of the season. We saw the shove, 2-handed to the face shove. Like, that was a vicious shove. But I don't really appreciate anyone who shared the clip beforehand. Like, sort of ruined the episode on me, because I would have been in such despair, even more despair, watching the episode after watching Lee like be winning, and then have lost. I would have been like, no way. I would have been like, almost like a fan moment was like stolen from people.
I know, man. It was actually really disappointing. It was like obviously Lee's going in there. He's 5-0. Kurt Holloway, he was in the UFC twice. He's part of the vets. They're riding high as well. I'm sure that actually plays effect in the house as well. Like, now they're going 6-0. But like, seeing Lee's transitions against a vet, like, he's really gone to show that he is like up to that standard. And like, he won the first round quite convincingly. Those elbows from top position, like, even the way John was talking to him after the first round, like, he seemed like he was almost on cruise control. That's why it's like you knew the end of the movie going into that second round, and it was just like, what, a minute 39 seconds left.
Yeah, but you're almost like 2 minutes into the second round and be like, was that clip fake? Because like, when is this actually going to happen? Because like, that was pure domination. Like, it was an absolute phenomenal grappling display by Lee. He really, really outclassed him. He was heavy on top. He threw the shots when he needed to. And again, like, he fought a good tournament style as well. Like, I know maybe at times he could have rained down a few more shots, but at the end of the day, like, you're sort of protecting your hands and stuff as well. Like, you don't want to throw down 100 shots full force and then break a hand and then you can't compete in the next round. Like, that's always like a fear that these guys have when they're fighting so often in such a short succession of time.
Yeah, that's where his IMAF experience like it worked really well for him. And also Kerr Holloway is a black belt in jiu-jitsu as well. And now Lee has been promoted to black belt, but that like he really got to show what level he's at.
Yeah, Holloway was saying he trains, I think, directly under one of the Graces, I think it was, in his VT. So, yeah, like, obviously he's no slouch on the ground himself, and Lee handled him really, really well. He showed that there, like, is some levels to the jiu-jitsu game in terms of positionally, and then obviously he made one mistake, but, like, this is a cruel sport, this is a cruel game that we love, and, you know what I mean? If you take your eyes off the prize for a minute, you might get caught, and that's unfortunately what happened to Lee. I think he's definitely, though, warranted. I know we spoke about it a bit last week, but he's definitely warranted a spot to on the Ultimate Fighter finale, I think, or on maybe the card before or card after, whatever way they're going to work it out. I definitely think he's earned some form of UFC contract. He obviously is a blue chip prospect. He's obviously got a massive fan base and a massive amount of following in Ireland. People love to actually see him fight. You know, I think maybe last week I was saying that people aren't talking about him as much, but I think now that his episodes come out and now they've seen the performance, I think people will rally behind him even more now, and you know, they'll view him as a UFC fighter. Not when you're on the Ultimate Fighter, sometimes I feel like you're in a bit of a grey area, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, it was even good to see like what he does in Dublin 12, coming out of Crumlin. Like it brought you to his house. Like you actually got to see more of Lee Hammond, what he's about, and behind the scenes in that like minute clip when they went when the cameras went to his home. Then you probably have heard like in his whole 13-14 year career.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Lee's obviously a very quiet guy. It was great to see that sort of insight. Like I was laughing at his mom saying he was skipping school and he was going to the gym and training. I'm not surprised because like he always was a phenom. Like the whole time throughout his career, people are like, Lee Hammond's going to be the one to watch out for. Lee Hammond's going to be the one to watch out for. And also, yeah, you have to look at it this way. Lee Hammond was 5-0 going into that fight. He's actually still 5-0 because that was the exhibition bout. But how many lightweights get into the UFC with 5 fights? Very, very few. Like that's one of the deepest divisions in the UFC. It's probably the deepest division if you take the top 50 guys in the division. Like that one's probably got the most stacks, probably got the most household names in it. And he went in there and he showed he belonged, and he's going to belong there for a very long time.
So what would you say is next for Lee? Like there is potential that he could get a wild card spot if say if someone gets injured in the house, or could you see a contender series sort of situation, or do you think he'll have to take a step back to take another step forward?
I think I'd like to see him fight one of the other prospects on the finale show or in or around that time. And I think on the finale show would be great because the finale is going to take place at UFC 292 in Boston. So Ian Gary's fighting on that card already. Why not get Lee Hammond on the card as well? The Fighting Irish, I'd be all for it. I'm sure Conor will be there as well, and it will have a great buzz for it.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Ross, 6-0. There was obviously the shove, the notorious shove on the Bellator tick. Right, the thing is, right, there's a lot of Irish fighters that fight in Bellator. How many, like, what percentage of SBG Ireland fighters are actual Bellator fighters? It has to be over 80%, doesn't it?
In terms of the pros?
Yeah, in the pros.
Maybe not, because you have a few that, like, are definite outliers. Like, you think of Danny McCormack's not in Bellator. Conor McGregor's not in Bellator.
Who? Kiefer. Okay, actually, maybe.
Kiefer.
Okay.
There's a few or not, but obviously, you know, they have a strong stable of maybe 10 to 15 guys. Obviously, that number sort of fluctuates a bit. And, you know, they're effectively the only gym that fights on the Dublin cards when Bellator come over here. So it was interesting to see Conor sort of give the Bellator guys a bit of stick. He was like sort of well done team Bellator, which I thought was quite funny considering SBG's links to Bellator. But at the end of the day, like, Bellator does great stuff for MMA in Ireland. Like, they put on great shows over here. They give the Irish athletes a chance to compete. But I think Conor was effectively saying they're second rate compared to the UFC, and like they will always be a number 2 to UFC. They'll and quite a marginal number 2 as well. Like, the UFC is by far the biggest organization in the world, and there's no doubt about it. And like, no one's going to tell you otherwise. Like, the people in Bellator aren't going to say they're bigger than the UFC.
People in PFL might say otherwise, or bare knuckle boxing. Look, I mean, like at least Conor was giving Bellator some more promotion since the last time he was there, and look how well that worked for bare knuckle boxing. Even you might get in there, Ross.
Yeah, me and Mike Perry are next.
Ross is 6-0 next week. Jason Knight from Team Chandler is going to be fighting against the brawler. I forget his actual name on Conor's team. I was actually too heartbroken after seeing Lee lose there. Yeah. Jason Knight against Conor's competitor.
Quinones, I think it is.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. I think that was the fella who had the sort of back and forth with Roosevelt Roberts.
Okay.
In the kitchen.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's quite funny that he's been billed as a knockout artist. He's fighting Jason Knight, who's a zombie. So that's going to be very interesting to see whether he's going to be able to knock him out or not. Also interesting that they showed next to like 0 footage of the fight. So I wonder, is this one going to be a quick one?
Yeah. Who's your favorite to win from the lightweights now?
I actually think Austin Hubbard, is my favorite to win the show. He's already gone through. I think he fought 7 times in the UFC. That's quite a lot. So I think he has a very good chance. But like, again, like, I think out of the 4 of them, I think it's anyone's game. Like, you know, Roosevelt Roberts, like, obviously got that like spectacular knockout. He's fresh as a daisy. Kurt Hollabaugh, obviously, like, is tough as nails. Obviously got some slick submissions, and then Jason Knight is an absolute zombie. And who knows, like, maybe Quinones could upset the apple cart and pick up a win for Team McGregor. Stranger things have happened.
Is that in the bantamweight division?
No, lightweight.
It is lightweight.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
we will see.
I know. You were thinking Jason Knight fought featherweight as well before. So like,
yeah.
Like, oh, is he gone down or is he gone up?
Yeah. Who knows with that guy, man? Who knows with that guy? but we will be back again next week. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because we'll be back next week covering that, and we'll see the aftermath of Conor and Chandler. Like, because it is getting spicy, Ross. It took 6 episodes to get very spicy.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? There was still verbal altercations going on as the episode was closed now. What do you think of Michael Chandler's trash talk? I'm going to stack him up. That was his go-to line. I think he needs to work on that.
That's very American, isn't it? Like,
well, you know what it was? He's not as good off the cuff. Like, normally he has a little promo ready to rock. You know, WWE style. He doesn't have them off the cuff.
Yeah, I don't think he was expecting the push, so it sort of just caught him off guard. But like,
he took that push like a champ in the face, didn't he?
Yeah, like, I mean, like, Chandler's top of the range. I mean,
yeah,
like, and as we all know, like, he's a like stand-up guy as well. So
yeah, but he also had a heavyweight champion, Roy Bader, with his back as well. Like, that's not to be forgotten either.
Yeah, that's true. Bader was straight in, like, going after King Cowley.
Yeah,
I'm sure
another heavyweight big dog.
Yeah, that could be like King Cowley's next fight in Kingpin as well. Make sure to check that card out as well. We're gonna have Decky Dollar.
Yeah, we got Declan Kenna, Kiefer Crosby, and King Cowley all fighting on Kingpin boxing. So shout out to 3 lads, 3 knockouts inbound. Going to be a great one to see. Really looking forward to Kiefer's fight as well, because he's fighting Aaron from Geordie Shore. So that's going to definitely be funny. And he's fighting a bare knuckle boxer, so like, King Cowley takes no easy fights. But apparently the lads are being paid well, so delighted for them. And hopefully it's a good show.
No, I'm sure it will be good crack. The Irish fans in the Tree Arena always go nuts, no matter what it's for, whether it be boxing, MMA,
or tiddlywinks.
But that's an American one there. You're watching too much American TV. But another thing, just before we wrap that episode up, Ross, crawfish. Kurt Hollabaugh was eating crawfish. What did you make of the crawfish?
Yeah, it sort of reminded me a bit
You're
like
a
lobster
you're a
or
food
something.
connoisseur. Like,
Yeah.
if you look at your stories, they're always about food. So I mean, like, what did you make of that? Like, would you try it?
Yeah, like you know the way you have a lobster roll. I'd love to have a crawfish roll.
I
Like
thought we had a. Do we not have a crawfish
I
roll
think we had a
before?
crayfish roll. I don't know if that's
Crayfish. It
different.
was
Yeah,
it was cold.
yeah. So like, I'd love to give that a bash. Like it looked tasty enough. Like to be
Yeah,
honest.
it did, didn't
So
it? Yeah.
I was like, interesting.
It
Obviously
was
that
very interesting.
Louisiana are like known for the grub. Obviously you have Justin Poirier with his hot sauce, and then Daniel Cormier has always gone on about
Yeah.
fried chicken. So
Yeah.
like some crawfish and fried chicken would sound delicious.
Speaking of chefs, Ross, UFC 290 is this weekend being headlined by Alexander Volkanovski against Yair Rodriguez. Volkanovski, the chef master, the champ. What do you actually make of this card, Ross? International Fight Week is going down this weekend, but
Yeah, I think it's a tasty one from start to finish. It's one of those cards that you'll probably watch the whole thing. Like you'll start from the first prelim and you'll watch it the whole way through. I know some cards you know you might miss the one or two of the prelims at the start, and then you start watching more towards the main cards. But I think fans will be watching this one from start to finish. I think the arena will show that as well. People will be excited. International Fight Week is always one of the biggest and staple calendar events of the year. So I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know whether you want to. I think we just said we were going to discuss the sort of top 3 fights. So I don't know whether you wanted to start with the middleweights or you want to start with the champ versus champ.
no, we start with the main event and then we'll just go through the top 3 and then just give some mentions for people to watch out for as well.
Of course, yeah. Well, look, we have champion versus champion. You know, you probably wouldn't believe me, Baz, if I told you at the start of the year that there'd be 3 Mexican champions in the UFC, and now we have them. You know what I mean? And Grasso, Brandon Moreno, and now Yair Rodriguez as an interim champ as well, which is crazy. So Viva la Mexico! Obviously, Shevchenko's doing a rematch on Mexico Day, I think, in the near future as well. So the Mexican MMA scene is absolutely booming at the moment. But I think, you know, Volkanovski, arguably the best featherweight of all time. It's sort of a debate, and I think there's always 4 names thrown in the hat. I think it's always Aldo, Holloway, Volkanovski, and McGregor. And if you look at it, Volkanovski and McGregor have both beaten Aldo and Holloway. So if you narrow it down between Volkanovski and McGregor, and you look at it, yeah, Volkanovski has more title defenses, but when he moved out up to win that lightweight crown, he was unsuccessful. When McGregor moved up to win that lightweight crown, he put on a masterclass performance. So I'm still calling Conor McGregor the GOAT.
Love it, bud. If Forge Irish there are listening now, like that should be a Christmas bonus for the lads.
Yeah, Chris Bones for the lads. you up the Forge Irish now. In terms of the fight itself, Basmo, you know, obviously Yair Rodriguez is highly unorthodox. He has some of the flashiest moves that we've ever seen in MMA. Like his like sort of upward elbow to knock out Zombie in the last second, the last round. Like this guy is, you know, you have to be fully prepared for the full 25 minutes. What do you think like the path of victory is for Yair Rodriguez?
With Yair, look, he does all the sort of crazy stuff. He's been on the scene for a while. He was on the Ultimate Fighter as well. By the way, did you see his belt? He got a Mexican.
Oh yeah, the custom with the
belt.
sort of different sort of colors going through and stuff. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, some fella like designed Dana White's shoes, and he was like, I can do this with one of the belts for the Mexican fighters, and he was like, yeah, why not? Ross obviously has all the flashy gear, the kicks, the spins. Like looking at Volkanovski, he's been training with like Blood Diamond. Do you know what? I don't see Yair able to win this unless it's like some mad like spinning kick. If Volkanovski's like about to rush in, but I think Volkanovski is just on a different level at the moment. I think he's just like clearing out the division.
Yeah.
I'd
Put it
rather
this way,
see...
when I looked at the featherweights, I wasn't like, I think Volkanovski will be the one, if that makes sense.
What do you mean?
Or sorry, Yair Rodriguez will be the one.
Oh,
sorry, I don't think I was like, I don't think he's the guy. Like, especially when you see the way Volkanovski like toughed out the guillotine against Brian Ortega. like incredible. The way he like beat Max Holloway in his last fight, incredible. Like you sort of lined them up for, or even the way Volkanovski went toe to toe with Islam Makhachev. You know what I mean, like this guy is the elite of the elite, and like I really struggle to see where someone at featherweight at the moment is going to actually take this guy apart.
Yeah, but it was even the way Volkanovski's career is gone. He's just like always toughed it out. Like it's the people living over in that region in New Zealand and Australia, like they're just a different breed. Like I know Yair had his problems over a few years back, and then he was leaving, then he was back, all this sort of stuff. But like Volkanovski has just continuously gone, never stopped grinding. I was listening to him on Bisbing's podcast, and he was just like, he wants to stay active, and he does want to stay active. He's always in and around the fights. Like he was even at the Invitational there last week. He just loves it. He wants to stay active. He wants to keep like getting as much money as possible. I think he's one of the most active champions in the UFC, and I just don't think I just don't think Yair has the same sort of mindset. And I think like Volkanovski's going to want to come back out and prove how good he is again after losing to Islam Makhachev. And I wouldn't be surprised if he went to 155 again at some stage.
Yeah, exactly. I think the only knock on Volkanovski is probably the finish rate. I think he's only finished one of his last 7 fights. Now, obviously, he's fighting the likes of Max Holloway. No one's ever finished him. No one's ever knocked him down. He's fighting Brian Ortega. He's fighting Islam Makhachev. Like, these guys are obviously the elite of the elite. But I feel like Volk has the power to get the job done. So I'd like to see him maybe go for the kill that little bit more.
Do you think Islam Makhachev underestimated how good Volkanovski was in the last fight?
I'd say a bit. There's a bit of that as well, but I'd also say he, as the fight went on, like Volk started to take over that little bit towards the end. I think cardio wise, I don't think he was expecting that level of pace. Like Volkan obviously puts such a pace on these guys, and like he stays technically proficient throughout as well. So like the technique doesn't drop, nor does the pace. Yeah. So I'd say he did underestimate him a bit, and I think if they fight again, I don't know if it would actually be too dissimilar. Like I think no one's putting a shutout on Volkanovski.
No, very. Does he remind you of anyone?
Weirdly in a way of like GSP in terms of like IQ, as in like he's happy to win the fight wherever, and he'll probably fight you where you're at your worst because he's so well rounded.
He is. He just loves it. Even the way he does the stuff in the background, like he is time for everyone. Like he always comes across so nice. The way he does his cooking stuff online. Someone give that fella a big Air Fryer sponsorship.
Also, he's sponsored by Prime now as well. Him and Adesanya.
Yeah, they're barred, man.
Yeah,
we need $4 stout chains, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
This is number one bullshit.
No, we're both going to go Volkanovski, but I think I'll try and convince you to pick Yair at the end of the week, because as people who listen every week, myself and Ross do a competition every week, and we have to pick. Each one of us gets to pick each week who we think is going to win the main event. Right now, Ross is winning 14-10. He's coming from behind, but I was the champion last year, by the way. Jeez, just putting it out there, Ross. Right?
Just remind everyone there, yeah.
Yeah, well, like you've been reminding me the last few weeks who's the king at the moment. Ross, co-main event. Brandon Moreno, the champion, is taking on Alexandra Pantoja, 2 former Ultimate fighters as well, Ross.
Exactly. But
just leading into this, Pantoja is a challenger. He's actually beaten Brandon Moreno in the UFC, and he beat him in the Ultimate Fighter, Ross.
Yeah, he did. He actually finished him with a rear naked choke on the Ultimate Fighter, and when he beat him in the UFC, there was like some 30-26s on the judges' scorecard. So like. You might even struggle to say like Moreno's actually ever won a round off Pantoja. So
going into that season, wasn't Pantoja ranked number 1? And Brandon Moreno was the last
ranked 16. Yeah,
yeah, and they fought each other in the first round.
Yeah, so like this is it. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is come.
Where else would you go for your Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, your Ultimate Fighter knowledge, encyclopedia, Barry Moore. This one should be a great fight. Like obviously Brandon Moreno's come on leaps and bounds. He's on fire these days. He's the main man. He's the champ. He's really built like a cult following as well. Like people love Brandon Moreno. Like they have so much.
Almost like a Liviera sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. People just love him. Like they like his demeanor. They like the way he carries himself. They like the way he interacts with people. He seems so happy to be there all the time.
Yeah.
So look, I'd be a massive Brandon Moreno fan. So I hope he gets the job done. I hope he can overcome this. But like in terms of fight styles, Pantoja is there for the finish. He throws like great kicks. Obviously, he's got great grappling as well, having got the submission over Moreno in the past. But like with 25 wins, he's got 8 knockouts and 10 submissions. You don't get that high a finishing rate at flyweight too often, and that's what this guy likes to do. He's got 2 submissions in a row over Alex Perez and Brandon Royval. So he's coming for him, and he's coming in hot.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with Brandon Moreno, just because Pantoja beat the Irish legend Neil Seery. But the thing is, if Pantoja wins, I think he's going to be the only Brazilian champion in the UFC right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, he will be after Amanda Nunes vacated her belts.
Yeah. Ross, another fight as well. Everyone has to make sure to check out Robert Whittaker against Dricus du Plessis. Who are you backing for this one, bud?
Yeah, well, I'm going to back our mate Robert Whittaker. We met him over in New York. Lovely fella.
Do you think he remembers?
Of course, yeah, how can he not? And I do think a win here will get him that third crack at Izzy. It's hard to get 3 fights against someone when you've lost the first 2, but I think if anyone deserves it, he does. And obviously, if Dricus du Plessis can pull this win out the bag, he got nose surgery there recently, so with that nose surgery, apparently he can breathe better and his cardio is much better. So, yeah, I think maybe we'll see a different Dricus du Plessis, but we'll need to see a different Dricus du Plessis to beat Robert Whittaker. That man is elite. If Israel Adesanya didn't exist, he'd be the greatest middleweight of all time. I think at this stage, he really is that good.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Robert Whittaker as well. His cardio is insane. And Dricus, it's like we have to see like how good this surgeon is. Or else, because that surgeon will like get a lot of more business if Dricus out cardios the Reaper. There's a few more fighters on the card people have to watch out for. Ross Bo Nickel, people have to keep an eye on him, yeah?
Yeah, obviously NCAA wrestling champion. He's one of the elite wrestlers that the UFC has ever seen, and people are red hot on him. We've obviously seen him on Dana White's Contender Series a few times, so definitely one not to be missed. Also, the lightweight bout on the main card as well. Turner versus Hooker. That has fight of the night potential written all over it.
Yeah, just on the undercard here, Robbie Lawler is taking on Nico Price. It's meant to be Robbie Lawler's final fight. An absolute legend. If you haven't seen him against Rory McDonald, make sure to check that fight out. Ross, Jack Della Maddalena as well. You're high on this guy.
Yeah, this is probably the last one we'll probably throw out on this one. It's great to finish on a high note. This guy, he's actually fighting a fella who, in his last fight, he actually double-legged someone through the cage door, which is hilarious. I don't know if you've seen that clip, Baz. I'll send it on to you later. But yeah,
keeping all the good clips to yourself, bud.
Yeah, but Jack Della Maddalena, he's got some serious hands. He's probably up there with Ian Gary for the hottest prospect at 170. He's an absolute monster. He finishes everyone in the first round. So let's see if Harrell can go past the first round with him. That would be some feat on short notice.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a great card. I'm buzzing for it. This weekend as well, you have to keep an eye for Irish MMA fans. You have to check out PFL in Berlin. Franz Malambo, Dylan Chuk, and John Mitchell are all competing on the card. And on Sunday night, LFL, Andreas Binder returns. Ross, this is going to be an action-packed weekend, bud. And yeah, we will be back again for more Ultimate Fighter next week.
I can't wait for it. Look, Irish MMA is booming at the moment. You up the lads fighting this weekend in PFL and NFL. Lee Hammond can't wait to see you back in the UFC. And I can't wait to see a whole host of other Irish fighter who is next. If you haven't watched this, make sure to like, share, smash that subscribe button. And as always, stay energized.
Energized show, up the Irish. Been sussing you guys a couple of times. I've seen a couple of clips. I think you've done some interviews with Dylan Moran and that I saw. So keep going, keep up the good work, guys.